All right, so are you ready to become a better leader? Like not just, the fancy title, but really level up your leadership game in like every area of your life.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Practical strategies
Yes.
for building a powerful leadership mindset.
No boring theories here, just real stuff you can use right away. It's
That's right.
like leadership boot camp.
Exactly.
Okay, but hold on, before we hit the ground running, what exactly are we even talking about here? What does leadership mindset even mean? It's more than just telling people what to do right.
Oh, for sure. A leadership mindset, it's about how you approach challenges, different situations with a certain set of skills and attitudes. It's about influencing people,
Well,
inspiring them, not just bossing them around. And the good news is anyone can learn this stuff and get better at it no matter where they're starting.
okay, so it's like a superpower.
Bam.
Instead of capes and lasers, we're talking self-awareness and a can-do attitude. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But let's get specific. What are some of the like key ingredients of this incredible leadership mindset?
Well, one of the most important things is having a growth mindset.
A growth mindset. Okay.
It's that belief that you can always learn and get better, no matter how much you already know. And this is not just some fluffy feel-good idea. A growth mindset has real benefits for leaders.
So it's not just like, chanting, I think I could, like a train going uphill. What does this actually look like in action?
Okay, so imagine you're facing a tough decision, right? Maybe a project is falling apart or you have to have this difficult conversation with someone on your team. With a growth mindset, you don't run away from these things. You see them as chances to learn, to stretch yourself, and figure out a solution.
Right, turning those oh crap moments into bring it on
Yes,
moments.
exactly.
But what if you actually mess up? Does that completely ruin the whole growth mindset thing?
Not at all. Actually, a growth mindset helps you embrace failure as a learning experience. Look at some of the most successful leaders out there. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Satya Nadella. They all had major setbacks, but they didn't let those define them. They learned from those mistakes, adapted, and came back even stronger.
So failure is just part of the package deal, like a bonus feature you didn't even know you were getting.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put this into practice? Should I like go out and intentionally make mistakes?
Well, hopefully not. It's more about being open to new experiences, being willing to take on challenges, and not being afraid to ask for help. And a huge part of that is self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Okay. That sounds a little bit, I don't know, touchy-feely. We're going to sit in a circle and chant?
Not quite, no. Think of self-awareness as your leadership superpower. It's about understanding your strengths, weaknesses, your values, your biases, and knowing how your emotions and actions affect the people around you.
So it's like a mirror, but instead of checking your hair, you're checking your ego and blind spots. But why is this so crucial?
Because we all have blind spots. We all have things that trigger us, right? And make us react in ways that maybe aren't the best for leadership. But when you're self-aware, you can start to see those patterns and make better choices about how you respond.
So instead of, I don't know, accidentally throwing your stapler at somebody when they miss a deadline, you can take a deep breath and offer some helpful feedback instead.
Exactly. Self-awareness helps you be a more thoughtful, intentional leader. And it helps you build trust with your team because they see that you're not just reacting emotionally, but you're making decisions based on understanding and consideration.
It's like if my car starts making a funny noise, I don't just ignore it and hope it goes away.
Yeah.
I get it checked out before it breaks down completely.
Perfect analogy. Self-awareness is your leadership checkup, making sure you're running smoothly and ready for anything. And it's all connected to another key part of the leadership mindset, emotional intelligence.
Ooh, emotional intelligence. That sounds like a big one. What exactly does that mean when we're talking about leadership?
Well, it's not just about being nice or sensitive. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. It's about reading social cues, being able to empathize with different points of view, and building those strong relationships based on trust and respect.
So like a leadership therapist, but instead of a couch, we have a conference table. But seriously, how does this help us be better leaders?
Imagine you're leading a team through a big change. There's going to be stress, uncertainty, maybe some pushback. With emotional intelligence, you can acknowledge those feelings, you can address people's concerns, and create a space where they feel safe to express themselves.
So it's not about ignoring or dismissing emotions. It's about acknowledging them and using them in a productive way. But how do you actually do that? Are there specific techniques for emotional intelligence that we can learn?
Absolutely, and we'll definitely get into some practical tips later on. But for now, just remember that emotional intelligence is a skill you can develop just like any other skill. It takes practice, self-reflection, And a willingness to be a little vulnerable.
Vulnerability. Okay, now that's not a word you hear very often in leadership role.
Mhm.
Isn't it all about being tough and decisive? How does vulnerability fit in?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore more in the next part of our deep dive. But for now, just think about it this way. Vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. It means being authentic, being willing to show up as your true self, even when it's a little scary.
All right, I'm intrigued. So we've got growth mindset, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, all critical for a strong leadership mindset. But before we move on, I'm curious, what about this crazy, ever-changing world we live in? How does a leader adapt and thrive in a world where everything seems to be in constant flux?
That's a fantastic point, and it brings us to another essential quality for leaders.
Mhm.
Learning agility. And we'll unpack that key concept and how it can help you navigate this crazy world when we come back. So, before the break, we were talking about this constantly changing world and how leaders need to be able to adapt to actually, thrive.
Yeah.
And that's where learning agility comes in. It's all about being able to learn new skills, pick up new knowledge, and new ways of thinking quickly, especially when things are unpredictable.
So it's like being a mental gymnast, like flipping and twisting your brain to handle whatever challenge comes along.
Yeah.
But how does that work in real life? Do I need to like speed read a textbook on quantum physics before my next meeting?
Not necessarily.
Okay, good.
Though I appreciate the enthusiasm, learning agility is really about being open to new experiences, seeking out information from different places and then being able to apply what you learn to new situations fast. Like imagine you're suddenly put on a project that needs a skill you've never used before.
Right.
A leader with learning agility wouldn't just freeze up.
Yeah.
They would jump in, figure out what they need to know and get it done.
Okay, so like a quick study, but it's not just memorizing facts. It's about actually using that knowledge on the fly. How do we cultivate this learning agility superpower?
One of the best ways is to just embrace continuous learning.
Continuous learning. Okay.
And I don't just mean going back to school or getting another degree. It's about making learning a part of your everyday life, even just for a few minutes each day.
So instead of scrolling through social media before bed,
Mm-hmm.
I can read an article about a new leadership technique or listen to a podcast like, let's say, The Deep Dive.
Exactly.
Shameless plug, I know.
And the great thing is there are so many resources available now. Online courses, podcasts, books, articles, you name it, it's out there. You just have to be intentional about finding it and actually making time for it.
So turning those little bits of downtime into learning opportunities. Instead of binge watching the latest reality show, I could binge learn about the latest leadership trends. But what if you're more of a hands-on learner? Does that still count?
Absolutely. Sometimes the best learning comes from doing, right? So seeking out new challenges at work, volunteering for a project that pushes you out of your comfort zone, even taking up a new hobby, all of those things can make you learn and grow.
That's good to know. I'm not much of a bookworm, but I love trying new things. So it's like if I decide to take up pottery and I end up with a limpy clay, monstrosity, that's still a learning experience.
Exactly.
Okay,
Good. And hey, maybe the next pot you make will be a little less lumpy. The point is, you're putting yourself out there, you're experimenting, you're learning by doing. And that's what learning agility is all about.
Okay, so continuous learning, check. What other practical strategies can we use to build this leadership mindset?
Well, this next one can be tough for some people, but it's super important. Seeking and embracing feedback.
Ugh, feedback. That word makes me cringe a little bit. It's like waiting for the results of a test you didn't study for. You're saying we should actually want feedback.
Yes,
Why?
because feedback, whether it's positive or what we call constructive, it's a gift. It gives you these valuable insights into how other people see you, your strengths, your areas where you can improve.
Okay, I get that it can be valuable, but how do you make it less scary?
Yeah.
Like, what if the feedback isn't good? Does that mean I'm a terrible leader?
No, one piece of feedback doesn't define you. And it's all about how you approach it. Instead of getting defensive, try to see it as a chance to grow. Ask questions. Really try to understand the other person's perspective, and most importantly, thank them for their honesty.
So, like, turning that feedback frown upside down and use it to get better instead of letting it crush your confidence. But how do you actually get feedback? Do you just send out an email to everyone saying, tell me what I'm doing wrong?
That's probably not the best way to go about it.
Okay, good.
Start by building relationships with people you trust and respect, and just let them know that you're open to hearing their feedback. You can even be proactive and ask them specific questions about your performance or leadership style.
So creating a culture where feedback is normal,
Exactly.
where it's not an attack, but a way to help each other grow. I like that. What else can we do to build this leadership mindset muscle?
Well, this next one is all about connecting with people,
Yeah.
building strong relationships. It's about going beyond just the work stuff and creating real connections based on trust, respect, and really understanding each other.
Okay, relationship building, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
But how do you actually do it? Is it about taking everybody out for happy hour every Friday?
That's always fun.
Right.
But it's about more than just socializing. It starts with being present and engaged when you're interacting with people. Put your phone away, make eye contact, actually listen to what they're saying, ask questions, show empathy, and try to see things from their point of view.
So treat everybody like they're the most important person in the room, even if that room is a Zoom call.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And building strong relationships takes time. It's about consistent actions, small gestures of kindness, and really being there for people when they need you.
Right, you can't just like microwave a strong relationship. It takes time to simmer and develop.
Exactly.
But what about when things get rough? How does this leadership mindset help us deal with conflict and challenges?
That's a great question, and it brings us to one of the most powerful benefits of having a strong leadership mindset: resilience. And we'll dive into that next. So, we've been talking about all the pieces that go into creating a really strong leadership mindset. And before the break, we were discussing how important it is to build those solid relationships for
Right.
effective leadership.
Yeah.
But like leadership itself, relationships aren't always easy.
That's for sure. So how does this mindset that we've been exploring help us get through those tough times, those moments when, things get a little messy?
That's where resilience comes in, that ability to bounce back from setbacks, to adapt when things change, to just keep going even when things are hard. And having a strong leadership mindset really sets you up to be resilient.
Okay, so it's like having this mental and emotional armor that protects you when, life throws a curveball.
Mhm.
But how does that actually work? Is there like a secret formula for resilience?
Well, there's no magic formula or anything, but the things we've been talking about play a huge role. Remember that growth mindset. It helps you look at challenges as chances to learn and get better instead of feeling like you failed.
Right, so instead of I can't do this,
Yeah.
it's I'm not there yet.
Exactly. And then there's self-awareness. When you really understand your own triggers and how you react to things, you can manage your emotions better and not let stress take over.
So it's like having a little emotional first aid kit ready to go when things start to get greater.
Exactly. And we can't forget about emotional intelligence, being able to understand and empathize with other people's perspectives. That's so crucial for navigating conflict, for building consensus, especially when things are tense.
Right, you can't lead effectively if you're only thinking about your own feelings and not considering how other people are feeling. But does having a leadership mindset actually lead to results? Like, does it actually help you get things done?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the most rewarding things about working on your leadership mindset. When you put these principles into practice consistently, you really start to see positive changes in how effective you are as a leader and in your overall success.
Okay, so tell me more. What kind of results are we talking about? Like, will I suddenly become super productive, get tons of amazing work done while motivating my team without even trying?
Well, maybe not effortlessly,
Okay.
but it definitely makes things easier. For one thing, you'll become a much better decision maker.
Yeah, I can see how all the things we've been discussing would help with that. Being more self-aware, managing your emotions, being open to different points of view. It just makes sense that you'd make smarter choices.
Right. And you'll also be better at dealing with conflict, at building strong relationships with your team, and inspiring people to do their best work.
So it's like a leadership amplifier, boosting your impact and helping you achieve those big, hairy goals.
Exactly. And there are benefits that go way beyond just the workplace, too.
Ooh, tell me more. This sounds good.
All those things that make for a strong leader, things like empathy, resilience, the ability to connect with people, those are also the things that make you a better friend, a better partner, a better parent, a better member of your community.
So it's like a ripple effect,
Yeah.
spreading outwards and making you a more awesome human being all around.
Exactly. It's about living a life of purpose and impact, both personally and professionally.
Wow, this has been a fantastic deep dive, so packed with great insights and tips.
Okay.
As we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Remember this: developing a leadership mindset isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey of learning, growth, and just constantly evolving.
So it's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, and never stop learning and growing as a leader.
Exactly. And the best part is anyone can do it. You don't need a fancy title or a big office. You just need the willingness to step up, to challenge yourself and make a difference in the world.
So well said. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the leadership mindset. Remember, the power to lead is within each and every one of you.
Keep learning, keep growing, keep leading.